Well, Shemai, my crafting buddies, how are you all? I'm really in the mood for some Christmas crafting, that's if I can say it, and I'm hoping you would love to join in. I love making Christmas crafts, I love making Christmas cards and ornaments, and I thought this was something we could do together. So all I've got is a piece of blue card. It hasn't got to be blue, it can be whatever colour you've got, or it can be a piece of white paper, anything at all. And I've got some coloured strips of cardstock and paper. You could, if you haven't got any coloured paper or card, you could colour lots and lots of strips using pencils or pens and then cut those strips up. You could also use strips of newspaper, you could use strips of magazines, anything that you can layer up. And we are going to create a Christmas tree. Now then, as you can see, my strips are all different sizes, and that's absolutely fine because that's how I want it to be. And I've got a little brown piece which is going to be the trunk of my tree. So I'm just using a little bit of, this is just normal glue here. Pritt stick would be fine. Tape, double-sided tape is fine as well. Anything that sticks down for you. And all I'm going to do then, I'm going to start laying out my pieces to make a tree shape. So as you can see, I haven't stuck it down yet. It hasn't got to be perfect, because if everything was perfect, it'd all be a little bit boring, isn't it? And as I always say to people, if it's perfect, it doesn't look handmade. So I'm just going to use my strips then to create a really colourful Christmas tree, I will add. It's not like normal Christmas tree colours, is it? But it looks a bit more like if it's full of Christmas decorations. So I'm just trying to get my tree to make a triangular shape there. And even though I've got all these strips of paper, I might need to trim some of them down a little bit by just cutting off the one end of them, to try to make my tree get smaller and smaller as it's going to the top. It does look lovely and colourful, doesn't it? Now the important thing is that once you've got it in the right order, to try to keep it in that shape. Otherwise you'll be doing all this and then sneeze or something and it'll all go flying away. I'm going to use that thinner one there. I could do with one a little bit longer there, so I'm just going to put it against it and see what length I need. Oh, still a bit too long. There we go. Now at the top of our tree we need a star, don't we? Or you could do an angel if you were really keen to do a little bit of drawing. Mrs. Richards well, actually no, I'm not that good at drawing. And the children are so kind to me in school because they say, you are fantastic. But I do struggle to draw things. So I'm going to start sticking my strips down now. Now they could be a bit wonky. They can be however you want them to be, because this is your piece of work. And as I always say, no two snowflakes are the same. So you don't want to make yours exactly like mine, do you? Because that would be boring. You and mammies and daddies and nannies and granddads want to see what you can make, not what I can make. Now I found this idea on Pinterest. I love looking for crafting ideas on Pinterest. And I love sharing crafting ideas with other people. So there we go. If you wanted to, you could do it as a repeating pattern, couldn't you? Get a bit of maths into it then as well. But I'm just going with the colours that I think are pretty today. Can you see the fact that all my strips, the different lengths, the different widths, which gives my tree a more of a haphazard look. There we go. That's all I'm doing now is sticking them all down. Now, if you wanted to, then when you're finished, you could decorate your tree. You could decorate with pom-poms, just little circles, with finger paint. You could do it with little tiny rolled up bits of silver foil, stickers, anything at all. Because you're a tree, you can decorate it how you like. And that would make it look like it had little Christmas lights on, wouldn't it? Now, as you can see, I'm adding the glue to the back of the strips because that gives me a little bit more control over the shape of the tree. if I was to put all the glue down and think, right, it's all going to stick like this, for a start, you've got to work really fast because your glue will dry. But then you might go over the outline of the tree, outside the shape of the tree, and you wouldn't want that. Now I'm going to make a star. Now I'm not great at making stars, so I've got a little trick. I draw one triangle facing down, one triangle facing up. So it looks like, well, it's Star of David. Then I'm going to cut it out like this, just carefully cutting around my lines. And I'm using a really big scissors. It's probably better if you're cutting out little shapes to use a smaller scissors because it gives you a bit more control. Now you'd think after I've been crafting for a very, very long time, doing lots of different paper crafts, that I would have learned that lesson by now, wouldn't you? So there is my star, and I'm just going to turn it over. And as you can see, it's not perfect. It's not a perfect shape, but it's perfect for my tree. There we go. So I'm going to turn it over now, put it at the top of my tree, like that. And then I've got some little tiny silver stars here, and I'm just going to peel them off and put them on my tree. And you can do your trees with whatever decorations you like. And that's what I love about crafting, is that everyone's work is special and everyone's work is different. I teach lots of card making classes to grown-ups. And they always say, oh, but mine doesn't look like yours. And I'm saying, it's not supposed to look like mine. It's supposed to look like yours. We haven't all got to be the same, have we? There we go. Now, if you wanted to as well, and I think I'll do that just to show you, I got a piece of white cardstock. That's all I'm going to do. I'm going to keep a straight end. I'm going to do it this way, just like this. And can you see? Can you see now I've torn it? I'm going to turn it over now. I might just tear that a bit smaller. And that's, I'm going to make it look like my tree is standing in the snow. And because it was a piece of A4 card, it fits my picture perfectly there. So I'm going to stick that down now. And then on there, you could write Merry Christmas. You could also put holes in there and a bit of string, and you could hang that up. If you made it smaller, you could put it on the front of a Christmas card and you could send it to someone special. So, happy Christmas crafting. If you are in Dosbarth Enfys, I'd love you to share any Christmas crafting on our Seesaw account. If you are in Caergaro Primary School, it would be lovely to see you share your creations on Twitter. And if you're not in either of those, have a fantastic time and enjoy yourselves. So take care, everyone. Hwyl fawr.